Welcome on in. Three big questions for the men's national team this weekend. Progress for a soccer stadium in the high desert, and we dot the map of all our MK Ultras. That plus more on Friday's edition of Morning Kickaround. Hello and welcome on in. You found your way to Morning Kickaround, the show that dots the map of the ever-changing American soccer landscape. How's it going? Hope you're well. My name's Robert Kerr, host and local soccer guy. And to my side, my co-host, my partner in this endeavor, radio soccer guy, Jason Davis. What a t-shirt. How you feeling?
We made it. It's Friday. It's been a hell of a week, Rob. It's been a hell of a week, and I hope everybody is good as we arrive at the final day of the work week, as we stare ahead at a busy weekend that includes a U.S. men's national team game tomorrow. We've got a lot to cover. I don't want to waste time. Are we ready to say hi to the Ultras this morning who have jumped in here? Shout out to our guy, Jeff, Chapel Hill, North Carolina, Lions Bridge FC. We got a homeless shoe. Happy UFL opening weekend to all that celebrate. Is that a football? American football. Armando is here. Matt's here. Hi, Matt. You know how this works. Billy Bob's here. Shout out to Billy Bob as well. I'm sure people will trickle in. And again, it's Friday and it's been a hell of a week.
Yeah, there's been more than a couple things, both on this show and out in the world. Definitely things tumbling on through, but we got another great live show for you here on Friday, March 27th. We will be touching base with the Ultras, dotting the map, getting some updates, maybe hearing some suggestions for possible format news and changes. So we'll check in with the Ultras at the end of the show. Become a member, get you into your comments live on these live streams. Get your comments on screen is what I'm trying to say. You get access to bonus content as well as access to the Morning Kickaround Discord server, which has really become a great growing community, the backbone of this show when we're not here live.
Yeah, I'm going to throw this in. This is how our show works sometimes in our little company. You know, Rob and I are often on different schedules. He's got a busy list, just locked down a new full-time gig, which we're very happy about, except for, there's some stuff to deal with. I may have, without the approval of my partner over here, throwing a new level of membership over on the YouTube channel. I forgot to tell you about this, buddy. I'm so sorry. But it just really comes down to a couple of things. Access to the Dead Soccer Club's database. I'm trying to make that an opt-in thing because I don't want just the riffraff messing around in my database. But if you want to be a contributor to the database of Dead Soccer Clubs, you can join up over there. It's just a way to kind of keep the wheels turning on that endeavor. And I also think I threw in a little bit of extra content, video and audio wise. But anyway, check that out. Not a big deal. If you're an Ultra, you're an Ultra. You're in the Discord and all that stuff. It's just a little bit of a higher level if you so choose.
Yes, thanks for updating all of us on that, Jason. Good work there, and hopefully that helps us moving into the future. We shall see.
He's processing this right now. He's like, I have no idea what he's talking about, but I'm gonna make it the best of it. Thank you, Rob. I appreciate it.
Currently processing. And in another thing that we're gonna do today, we're gonna hype a match. There is still home openers to be had, and we're gonna hype up one of our American Soccer Club's home opener later in the show. We are getting the MK Ultra kit. That we're getting that first run all tied up, all the loose ends, so we can get that in the mail as soon as possible. So the first run of the MK Ultra kit, the pre-sales are processing. We're going to get them sent off to Mark at Bastion and get those kits in the mail. I got pickup games might shift from red shirts to yellow because of these.
Ooh, that would be exciting. I mean, I can't wait to see these things actually landing in people's mailboxes. Obviously, I would love to sport one here live on the show. There's a little bit of work to be done. We're behind the scenes logisticking. Is that a word? Did I just make a word? We're doing logistics. Rob and I are not logistics people, so bear with us as we work this out. But if you got your, did we acknowledge this, Rob? Did you tell the people that if you were a part of the first run of MK Ultra kits, there is a special little element that will not be on future kits?
Yeah, we did not say that. Another little bonus for the purchases of this first round, you have a little Easter egg that will be unique to these first edition kits. So should we just let that be a surprise? So know that you're going to be getting a kit, and there's going to be a special little Easter egg on those first kits.
Edition, what we would say, right? Limited edition, those kits.
Not limited though. Mr. Bob mugs and all the other stuff at the MK store. So you'll see on the Morning Kickaround YouTube channel, there is a shop, or you could go to Morning Kickaround's page on fourthwall.com. We got things like this t-shirt, wearing it for the very first time. We got the name t-shirt, hoodless t-shirt. We got some suggestions for hooded t-shirts. Maybe we'll investigate that in the future. But I got the shirt on and I got the bit, Mr. Bob mug. I get to say high drinkability out of this thing.
Okay, really makes the coffee taste better. Okay, that's good. I didn't realize that we were paying for that technology, but that's fantastic. A little bonus with your Mr. Bob mug. I did get my shipment of MK gear yesterday or the other day. I got myself the shirt you're wearing right there, which is the name in that color. I like that blue. I also got a Dot the Map hoodless sweatshirt. I went hoodless with I wanted to be streamlined. I didn't want to be dragged down by that extra element in the back. And I got a Clank the Clanger, a good old Clank the Clanger t-shirt. So I'm excited to sport those.
I'm curious to see when we get into our segment. Oh, here it is.
We haven't. It's been a little minute since we clanked it.
Maybe if we get a whole bunch of dots for the map later on, maybe we'll clank for that. Or I'm curious if our stadium news is clank worthy because there's progress towards another American soccer stadium. So we'll gauge the worthiness of that.
Okay, well let's get into it then. Let's go. We got stuff to cover.
All right, let's get into it. Let's kick off our Friday edition of Morning Kickaround with some stadium under construction. Soccer under construction here on Morning Kickaround. Some news in the positive section for New Mexico United on their endeavors to build a soccer-specific stadium after being pushed back at the Balloon Fiesta Park. There was a recent 6-1 vote of approval for the state fairgrounds. The government there is looking for a redevelopment plan that will transform the central Albuquerque site into a walkable mixed-use destination designed to improve public safety, create new jobs, and create economic activity. And New Mexico United, amongst those vying for that stadium space in the State Fairgrounds District.
Now, look, you can see this, and, shout out to our guys out in New Mexico, Ron Patel, obviously Peter Trevisani, the owner of the club, friends of Morning Kickaround, I think is the right way to describe everybody out in Albuquerque. Obviously, Mr. Bob is in here drinking out of his Mr. Bob mug as he watches us. He's been one of our biggest supporters, and we appreciate him. I know we have other New Mexico United supporters and fans who are supporters of this show. I think you can read this as a positive in that there is an alternative to the Balloon Fiesta site, but it's also kind of a negative because it's not as though this is definitely their site, right? This is, as you described it, they are vying for this, right? They want to move forward with this site. But if you are pivoting from the site you've been eyeing for 4 or 5 years at this point for New Mexico United, if you are pivoting, kind of indicates you're back to square one. Does it not, Rob?
Yeah, to a degree. That it's not exactly their number 1A spot that they've been eyeing, but they didn't get there was some sort of a public approval voting that didn't pan out their way for the Balloon Fiesta site, but there is now light or more of a pathway to an alternative site, and who knows, maybe that helps negotiations elsewhere. But at the fairgrounds site, They just approved this week the first phase of redevelopment, including House Park and Sports Stadium, which you see there on the graphic they have there. Yay, sports! And there is a place for it, a U-shaped sports stadium there in the renderings at the corner of California and Central.
We like sports, and we don't care who knows. Sports, go sports. Mr. Bob is giving us a little local insight here. Jason is absolutely correct. Thank you, Bob. I always like to hear it. And this new site is not locked in. And again, like, we are rooting for New Mexico United to figure this out. We saw the atmosphere there at Isotopes Park in a baseball stadium and the work they do. When we heard about the behind the scenes efforts it takes to convert from baseball to soccer, and all of the costs that are involved in how they prepare that building to host soccer. And it's as much fun as it was when we went out to New Mexico, Rob, and got our chance to do our show for the very first time, college game day style, from the stadium. As cool as it was to watch the game, and I ended up talking, and I can't remember his name right now, but the head coach of the University of New Mexico football team, fresh off of beating UCLA, was in the building, and had some very fun conversations with him. You did not feel like you were in a soccer stadium. You just, because you weren't, because that's the reality of it. And so there is a ceiling for a club that has drawn very well, like consistently well in Albuquerque, and absolutely has captured the attention of people in that state and in that town. There is a ceiling that they're going to hit every single time because they're playing in a building that's not designed for their sport. And so figuring this out is the key to unlocking Albuquerque and New Mexico United as a truly established, roots in the ground part of the community that you will never have to take for, never have to doubt. You can take them for granted in a good way. And so if this pivot helps them finally get their stadium, great. I hope this happens.
Yeah, I echo what you're saying there. When we were there, definitely seemed like they were doing the most with a temporary situation, that they were like kind of at peaking. They have their tenants in that stadium. They are doing all the right things, and they're making that venue as good as possible. But it seemed like potential, like almost lightning in the bottle, but they weren't in the right house yet for the lightning to explode. I can only imagine how far they could take it. I mean, they're averaging between 9 and 11,000 there at the baseball stadium, but if they were able to put those resources, that time and dedication into what it took to convert that stadium and kind of dress up the baseball stadium as best as they could as a soccer stadium, I can only imagine if they had that same effort and resources put into just their home, like the sky and the ceiling extends well beyond what we saw at Isotopes Park.
Well, look, and there's also this, and I'm sure Mr. Bob is aware of it. I'm sure New Mexico United fans are aware of it, the ones that are tuned in to how American soccer works. And I am not trying to say or doubt the commitment of Peter Trevisani or the people involved in New Mexico United. But as long as you don't have a stadium of your own, as long as you are renting, as long as you are not all in total control of signage and concessions and all of the other revenue streams that come with a professional sports enterprise, as long as you are kind of not the primary tenant, there is a doubt over the long-term existence of the team. That is just a fact of American soccer
at all levels.
It's not to say. I mean, South Georgia Tormenta built their own stadium and couldn't survive. And I know that's a different place. Statesboro, Georgia is not New Albuquerque, New Mexico, but this is the history of American soccer. Until you get those roots in the ground, we have to doubt whether New Mexico United will be here in 10 years, because this is a losing proposition. This is a money-losing proposition. That would be true even if they build the stadium, more than likely, but they're losing more money now than they would if they were in their own stadium. And as long as somebody who has to keep writing those checks sees that red ink every single year, there is a doubt as to whether they are going to stick it out for the long term.
But the ownership there, I mean, of all the owners that we've met and talked to, the ownership of New Mexico United seem more dedicated to keep that going more than the average owner. Again, they're working towards this eventual goal, and they've had to pivot here a bit.
But this is, I mean, my belief only goes as far as the history tells me it can. And the history tells me that even quote unquote committed owners, even those who we've talked to or I've talked to have been truly immersed in their team and interested in the game, sometimes it ends. Sometimes eventually either the money runs out or you just can't work anymore. And again, this is the key to that. And as long as a team is playing in somebody else's building, especially if it was made for another sport, they will not feel real. They will not feel they will not feel like they are never going anywhere. They will not feel like they are a rock that cannot be moved. They will feel like something that could crumble to dust tomorrow.
The State Fairgrounds District Board's next meeting is scheduled for May 7th and will include further discussions on housing and the stadium. So no stadium for the tenant has been selected yet, nor will be selected until approved by the State Fairgrounds District Board. So some more work to be done to be circled as that stadium tenant. So we'll follow up with that as that transpires. Are you ready to hype a match?
Let's do it. Let's hype a match.
Hype a match here on Morning Kickaround. Let's do it. All right, we're going to hype our match here on Morning Kickaround. Staying out there with our friends in New Mexico this Saturday. Tomorrow is New Mexico United's home opener versus the Colorado Springs Switchbacks. Kickoff on Saturday the right way with a pre-match fan fest at the Beer Garden. This is an early start, so the Beer Garden opens at 10:30. There's going to be free pancakes, donuts, face painting, a mini pitch, and more for you to swing in ahead of the home opener. The kickoff for the game is at 12:55 local, so you can get it started at the Free Fest and Beer Garden at 10:30 before they take on Colorado Switchbacks at 12:55. What a day for the home opener.
Do we want to? Okay, we got to do this properly, right? We got to play the hype the match video. Now, I think we're working on some technical things and some production elements. So let's see if we can make this work. It's all very on the fly. Producer Jenny's back there going, what buttons do I push? I have no idea what to do. And I agree with you, Jenny. Neither do I. Let's just run the video. And at the same time, we'll play this incredible music to get us hyped up. Here we go. Here's the video, Jenny. Let's play it.
Doing it live here on the fly on Morning Kickaround.
You know what? We were so up against it this morning with our planning that it was just like it was gonna be like that. I knew it was gonna be a mess. Hopefully, our ultras will forgive us some of our production gaffes. But that's it. We're hyping that match. New Mexico United, Colorado Springs, Switchback.
Get
one more
super
time.
hyped up. Let's get it hyped up.
That's okay. It's not a hype the match unless Rob says hyped up. Okay.
We're hyping it up. It's New Mexico United's home opener. They've been waiting quite a few weeks here for this. And here it is with a early kickoff and a fan fest and beer garden. Do you like the 10:30 beer and pancakes to start your day?
I would do that for sure. Yesterday, I went out to a late breakfast, early lunch with my wife, and I had a beer mosa, which was just a beer with some orange juice in it. I'm not sure I needed the orange juice, but I did it anyway because that was the vibe that I was trying to tap into in this breakfast restaurant. So yeah, let's do pancakes and beer. Why not? American soccer fans, we are great at getting up early and drinking. We're really, really good at that, Rob.
Yeah, you don't have to twist too many soccer fans' arm. Like an AM beer while watching sports. That's
Yeah.
definitely sounds doable. I don't know what it was called, but I had such a early Saturday. They had a liquor, sort of a maple syrup liquor sort of a thing. So if there's any some regular brunchers, let me know what that was. But that was delicious stuff, way to start the day. But if you are a New Mexico United fan or an Albuquerque resident, or you're in a nearby area and you wanted to have a Saturday filled with socializing, festival type atmosphere, and a opening match kickoff, it is New Mexico United taking on Colorado Springs Switchbacks on Saturday. Tomorrow, kickoff at 12:55 after a couple hours of a free fan fest and beer gardens powered by Bubba's Restaurant and Albuquerque tent. So how about that?
Yeah. We actually tasted a little bit of Bubba's Restaurant's fare when we were out in New Mexico, I believe, at the jersey reveal event. The New Mexico has not started the season well, so they're looking to get things going a little bit. Colorado Springs is your 2024 USL Championship champion, if I'm not mistaken on my history there. So that's a very good franchise that's got their own little soccer stadium, right? As we were talking about soccer stadiums, New Mexico's looking to build theirs, brick and mortar. That is, they provide permanence, my man, PSU to DCU. That is absolutely what this is about. You go from kind of being that really cool food truck in town, you never know where it is, what's the scale, where is it going to be, to, oh, they've actually got a building I can go to and sit down and eat in. Now, restaurants die all the time, so it's maybe not a great analogy, but, you do want brick and mortar. And Colorado Springs has that. New Mexico wants it. We've got the Fan Fest coming up. Excited to see how that goes down for our guys out in New Mexico.
Neo Tokyo has a different take on a Saturday morning, more of a wake and bake than a morning beer guy, but you might be taking it a little seriously. Sounds like a day that would include a felony, so I'm not sure.
Okay, so if we are going to discuss mind-altering substances for a second, I am not. That is not my bag. I'm not going to pretend to be a choir boy who's never partaken of that substance, but it's not my thing. I much prefer the beer. I'm not normal. I actually don't engage a lot in that morning soccer beer thing because I'm at home. There's family stuff, but I'm not against it. And I do think, like, as an adult, if you are somebody who likes to drink a little bit and you can do it within reason, a little day buzz is special. And after you get to a certain age and you do have family responsibilities, you don't really have an excuse to be day buzzed anymore, except for maybe some soccer, except for maybe a morning fan fest, if you know what I'm saying.
Morning fan fest, you have a good morning, and then it's not like the crazy 20s where you go up to 10 in like an hour or two. You got to just take a nice little hill for that day, get to a reasonable place, about halftime, maybe you have your last one and then relax a little bit and then take it easy after that. It's manageable for the elder statesman to do that in an appropriate way.
Elder statesman. Yeah, that's exactly what
as far as when it goes to drinking careers, we're getting into the elder statesman in drinking careers here.
Yeah, it depends on how you judge. Like, in terms of my counting stats, yeah, my best years are behind me. But in terms of my consistent performance, I might be in the best part of my career. I have a better handle on how to manage myself across a longer period of time. If you know what I'm saying.
You're the reliable veteran. You're not going to get that 10 out of 10 performance every now and again, but you're going to get that solid performance. You're good.
I'm a holding midfielder at this point in my career. I'm a holding midfielder, right? I'm not going to be scoring the goals. I'm not banging them in anymore, but I might get you one every now and then. And you're going to know I'm always back there getting the job done. Let's go.
Yeah. So that one last time, hyping the match, New Mexico United home opener against Colorado Springs Switchback kicks off at 12:55 local time. Should we hear that one more time before we get to our next story?
Should we do hype the match one more time?
Before we get out of here,
how many moving parts there are for this right now?
Or we could just go clean to our next topic here.
Actually, no, the problem is that your friend Jason put the video in the wrong place. So it is let's let's see if we can do it like this. Let me see if we can do it like this. I will let Jenny off the hook because this is not her responsibility. There it is in the background, Robin. You want the music? Is that what you want? You want the Can't even see the New Mexico United logo on the screen.
And that, folks, is what you call proof of concept.
Yeah, this is all because your friend Jason put the video in the wrong place. Hence this issue. So and now Jenny's clicking thing and I'm clicking things, and I'll let her handle the job.
And for what it's worth, like if that looked like something that you'd want your club, if you were a fan or a member,
you're getting
of
a lot of attention. Even if it didn't go exactly as planned, you're getting a lot of attention. So yes.
Yeah, ultras out there. Who the heck is New Mexico United playing on Saturday's game? I bet they could all answer it. No questions asked. But if you are a fan or a club leader and you want us to hype your match, change of format or not, we will still continue to do that to help spread the awareness for all the games happening across the United States. So reach out to us, morningkickaround@gmail.com, and we will hype your match. And pretty much any tip or business inquiry, reach out to that same email address, morningkickaround@gmail.com. Regardless of our format change, we are still going to do those sort of activities. It might even end up to where we still are creating content, but maybe not necessarily in the same box at the same time quite as much. But we're definitely willing to hype the match, interview all the great characters of note that we already have. Folks in soccer world are available at various times, not always at 9:30 in the morning. So we'll still have access to do those sort of things and then get creative.
I think you're oversharing, Robin. That's a lot. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
But either way, the show will continue on with my revised work schedule moving in the future. But we have a week of Monday, Wednesday, Friday live shows as per usual. And we're going to try to sneak in some additional recording times to get some additional segments together between the two of us. We got round 2 of Open Cup next week. We're going to know who is our final group member of the World Cup. And while we're talking about World Cup, let's move on to our next topic. We're going to talk about the men's national team playing this weekend here up next here on Morning Kickaround. Welcome back here, Morning Kickaround. The big questions. We, in fact, have 3 big questions ahead of the men's national team. The final friendlies before it gets real in June. What do we think? Should we get right into our big question? We'll lead the way. The question that you said you resisted putting into your newsletter, but will Gio Reyna play, and will he get over or under 45 minutes in this weekend's game?
45 minutes across 2 matches, 2 friendlies against top-level European competition. Both of these are top 10 teams in the world, Belgium and Portugal. Now, we'll have a chance to know on Monday when we reconvene whether Gio's gotten any time at all and what the balance is left on this potential 45 minutes. I think it's a reasonable number. Like at first I was like, oh, Rob, are we talking about a number? Why don't we just talk about whether he plays at all? But you're right in the sense that Gio's position in this team is so unique. He is obviously very talented, but since he doesn't show that enough in meaningful matches at the club level, everybody has significant doubts as to whether he should be in this team. And I think there are two different ways people are thinking about Gio and his position in this team in terms of like, oh, maybe he shouldn't be here. One viewpoint is he doesn't deserve it, right? Like this is some sort of like a fairness thing. Like, oh, he doesn't deserve it. Like, oh, you got 2 kids. One cleans the room all the time and does whatever they're asked. The other one messes, has a massive mess in the room, doesn't clean up, whatever. And then it's like, well, when we go to Disneyland, does everybody get to do the same stuff? Even though even the kids are different levels of contributing to the household. Well, yeah, you don't decide like, oh well, Billy can't go to Disneyland because his room is messy, but Timmy can because he cleans up. And so it seems as like that's a thing, right? There's this fairness element to it. My analogy fell apart there, but there's a fairness element to it. He doesn't deserve it. But that's never been the right way to think about the national team, Rob. Like it's never been right to be like, well, this guy, he plays so hard, or he gets more time, or even if he is doing notable things with his club team, that somehow guarantees you a place. If you have a position on your team, your national team, and you've got, oh, well, we don't know about this guy, and he doesn't show up when he plays for the national team, and we have a hole in our lineup, you're going to be willing to give anybody a chance. Doesn't matter. And if somebody is performing well at their club, sure, that's an easy reason to pick them. But if you're talking about what you know about talent, right? Maybe not what you see week to week, but what you know about talent, and you have a player that is at a different level than everybody else, which is for me who Gio Reyna is in this group, I understand why he's here. Like, and I tamp down that issue of, oh, it's not fair that he's here. He didn't earn it the same way other guys did, because that's not what the national team is about.
It is a weird situation. He might be getting pushed into or squared away into that James Rodriguez, where his best moments all come for the national team, but he doesn't have that building block of that amazing performance, 12 years ago in a World Cup to lean on. So kind of what are we leaning this on? A couple standout performances, his youth potential, and all those various things. It's been talked to death of like potential, endless potential, and this and that. But then when he did pop in for Pochettino, kind of, fortuitously with various people injured and unavailable, and that might be the case why he got into this squad this time, is just luck of the draw with other players not being available. But I think we'll see with that 45-minute mark, that means, is he going to be a actual contributor, or is he just filling up the numbers?
The only people who know anything about how Gio's role might develop for the World Cup are Mauricio Pochettino and his staff. And they only give us so much information. They're not going to outline everything, partly because I don't think they want to be held down if something changes. Now, you're saying that maybe Gio benefits from Diego Luna not being 100% healthy, or for whatever reason, Alejandro Zendejas, who had an injury, not being picked. And yet I don't know. Like, again, this is just my analysis from afar, from being outside of the inner circle, but I get the sense that Gio would have a spot regardless in this team. Like, I think Pochettino sees Gio as a potential game changer. Now, will he start? I don't think so. I don't think you can trust him to start because of his lack of club minutes. But I do think that there's this idea that we need somebody who can truly do things nobody else in the field can do. And maybe that's Gio Reyna. And he's getting a little bit of that James Rodriguez. I think I've mentioned Ricardo Quaresma a couple times. He's got that kind of vibe where it's like, man, his club career is a mess. He can't seem to stick anywhere. He can't seem to get minutes. It seems like no club manager trusts him. But if you bring him into a camp and he has to play 1 or 2 games, or you're in a situation where you need a goal, or you just need a difference maker, Gio Reyna's capable of that. And players like him, mercurial players who are on a different level talent-wise, always get the benefit of the doubt, Rob. They always do, because coaches cannot help themselves, nor should they in this case. And again, there are people out there who will tell you Gio Reyna is the most talented player the United States has ever produced. Now, that's tough for me to get to, because, again, he doesn't have the resume to back it up in terms of what he's done for club. And obviously the country part didn't go well in 2022. So let's see. But if you really believe that, he has to be in this team. I think the over-under of 45 minutes is well stated, because I don't know. I'm picking the under because I'm thinking maybe 15 and 15. But could it be more? Maybe.
15 and 15. Good guess there. I'm going to go under as well. I just don't think that I would be pleasantly surprised if he did and showed out. I mean, I think everybody wants him to play to his potential, but I think he'll go under that 45 minutes as well. And it's interesting that he does seem to be liked, even though a large part of the reason why 22 went so bad was because he didn't seem to be being a good team role player. So it's interesting that despite that conflict, maybe that was just a him and Berhalter thing, but like how he remains in good stead seemingly with the group, even though things went wrong because of his attitude 4 years ago. But big question number.
Hold on, before you move on, I watched his media availability that he did with Joe Scally yesterday, and it's absolutely 100% a lock that they put Gio and Joe together because they are very good friends and they play together at Gladbach and they've been in Germany and all that. They came through the New York system and all this stuff. You can tell like they don't love talking to the media about this. There were a couple of moments when their personalities came out a little bit. Gio was asked about the lack of club minutes, and to his credit, like it's a low bar, but to his credit, he kind of recognized. He said, "I know that it was controversial that I'm in this team, that Mauricio Pochettino picked me, but I love being in this team. I love this group. I love playing for my country, and I want to help the team win. So let's see."
To the comments, PSU to DCU, Gio's in danger of going the Musa trajectory. I actually think he's been there and back again, almost to a degree.
Maybe, but the thing about Yunus Musa is not nearly the player that Gio Reyna is on the ball, right? Musa doesn't have difference-making capabilities. Like he can do some things well, but he's not a plus player over everybody else in the pool at his position in certain ways, right? But Gio Reyna absolutely is. And I'm including Diego Luna, and I'm including Zendejas, and I'm including Malik Tillman, who really is the guy, the like-for-like kind of player positionally in this group. But here's the thing. Actually, you know what? What's question 2, Rob? Let's get to question 2.
Question 2, and this kind of like puts a chill down my spine, no pun intended, but is Matt Freese going to build any confidence, believe that he is the men's national team number 1?
I was hoping you were simpatico with me and we were going to go to a different question that involved a different player who might be in an area that Gio might play, which I guess we're not doing that. Okay. So do we not have a question about Weston McKennie in our list?
All right, so we'll just delete that from our memories the last 30 seconds, and we'll go to the number 2 question is where will Weston McKennie play?
Right, okay. So I wanted to bring this in, and it fits after Gio because they're going to be in the same general part of the field, right? And I don't know that there's a lot of intrigue around Weston's role in the U.S. men's national team. If you think of the 3-4-2-1 as the way forward, as what Pochettino is likely to do, how he will set up his team initially, certainly with the ball, right? In attack, going forward, well, how do they look? Now, the only reason I think there's intrigue is because Weston McKennie, when he's at Juve, has popped up all over the field. And one of the ways he's been used most effectively by Spalletti in the recent months is that he has been used as a wingback who becomes essentially a second or third forward, depending on what Juve is doing, right? His attacking abilities, he ends up in the box. It's why you've seen him thrive in that position. Now, he's still, again, nominally playing as a wingback, occasionally dropping deeper to handle some defensive duties. My question is whether or not you need Weston to have that positional flexibility within the flow of the game to have him be most effective, because he gets tougher for the opponent to track if he's there and here and there and here and there and here. So if you line him up as an attacking midfielder in the line of 2 in the 3-4-2-1, and you just say, this is your position. Now, he's going to be more involved, right, in the attacking end of the of play, and maybe less involved defensively, and maybe he is an outlet, and I do like playing him up the field for a lot of reasons, in particular because I think he's good winning the ball in the air, and there's lots of things he can do to really help relieve pressure, but that's a question. But he's so this is it, right? Is he a 10 or a 6? He's not a 6. He's not a 6, and he's not an 8, at least not for me, and I don't think for Mauricio Pochettino either. So probably he's going to play higher up the field, and this is the other part. Is he creative enough? Now, I think if he plays quickly, if he uses his instincts, there are 2 things he's very, very good at. One of them is, again, sort of flicks, quick passes, little crosses over the top, things like that. He's very good at that. Got to get him in space. He can pick his head up and do that stuff. Creative is maybe a different thing. He's not going to play a bunch of through balls that's going to find guys and behind. He's not going to do that. The other thing he's good at is finding space and putting himself in position to score goals. Just finding little pockets in the 18-yard box that allow him to be an outlet, whether it's for a cutback. He makes good near and far post runs depending on where the ball is. Like I think you play him there, and I think right now he's a better option than Gio because Gio's not informed because he doesn't play enough, but Gio can be a difference maker off the bench. I think he's a better option than Malik Tillman, who drifts in and out of games for me a little bit too much. Now, I say that even as I recognize that at times during his national career, Weston McKennie has drifted in and out of games and has been frustrating. But I also think a lot of that came from having him handle more responsibility as a midfielder in terms of connecting lines, and he won't have to do that if you play him higher up the field.
Yeah, when you think of Weston in his best, you highlighted playing quickly, but him finding a way to receive the ball, play it out wide, and then find that space in the box. Like most of his best highlights comes from late arriving runs or popping up in the box at the right place and time. So he doesn't necessarily have the creative spark from deeper, but he can definitely get that pass before the pass and then find some space to be dangerous in the box. And
they're going to have to use Tim Weah in the overload situation as a wing back on the right side, who we think is the start there. Christian Pulisic is going to have to drift inside. Obviously, he'll have an overlapping wing back or somebody there to play in combination with too. They're going to have to use that with because there's not anybody else in the middle of the field, right? Again, this is what Gio would do if he was on the field. He would sit in that space just outside the 18-yard box, get on the ball, pick his head up, and try to make things happen. That's not Weston McKennie's game. And Christian Pulisic is best used when he's in motion, in transition, or heads up 1v1, maybe trying to get to the end line or finding a shot. So, again, you're going to have to use Weston, as you said, as almost a give and go option as that attacking midfielder.
So that leads us to our third question that you don't remember me at all asking earlier in the show. But will Matt Freese give any of us confidence that he is truly a World Cup #1 goalkeeper?
This is a big question, and I'm not going to pretend to have an answer to it because I do not know. If you think about 2022, there was a big come down for American soccer fans when it came to our goalkeeper situation. Now, obviously, missing 2018 mean we didn't have to reckon with it at the World Cup in Russia. But you go back, Tim Howard stood on his head against Belgium in the World Cup in Brazil. Obviously, we knew he was a very, very good player, a consistent presence for a Premier League team year in and year out. You go back another generation, and it's Keller and Friedel battling for the #1 spot, two guys who had long and storied careers in Europe. You go back to Tony Meola, and if it was a different era, Tony Meola would have been playing in Europe too. He was that good. So we've been spoiled for goalkeepers, right? And the last decade of goalkeeper development in the United States has been extremely frustrating. Zach Steffen turned out not to be the guy. Matt Turner, a very good shot stopper, he came to the game too late to be comfortable on the ball. And in the modern game, you need a goalkeeper who's comfortable on the ball, Rob. It's just it's a necessity.
Do you think that's where his mistakes all came from, was with his feet? Because, there's like some amazing games he's had, but not all the mistakes that Turner made were all necessarily feet related.
No, and again, his athleticism, I think, is undeniable, but does he read the game as a goalkeeper? Does he make the saves he needs to because he understands technique in a way that sort of is innate for a player who maybe started at a younger age or just whatever, is a better player? I think Matt Freese is more of that kind of goalkeeper. He may not be the freak shot stopper that Matt Turner can be when he's at his best. And I think Matt Freese is better with the ball and less panicky back there, but he's also prone to mistakes. Like, we just do not have a guy who's a plus distributor of the ball as a goalkeeper and also brings enough shot stopping ability that you feel 100% confident. So it seems as though, and the reason I think this question is on our board is that Matt Freese is identified as the #1. And I do not expect a change in hierarchy between now and the World Cup in 2.5 months or whatever it is, Rob. It's just not going to happen. Now, Matt Turner's in the team. Matt Turner's a guy, though, who seems comfortable. As much as he might want to be the #1, he's not going to cause problems right? He's not going to rock the boat. I think the reason that Zach Steffen didn't go to the World Cup in 2022 is because Greg Berhalter didn't want questions every single match over who his number one was, because Zach Steffen could make an argument for being a number one. So he picked his guy, he rode with him, and he brought in some guys who were clearly backups. Does it look like that right now? Matt Freese, Matt Turner, you've got Droman Celentano, Patrick Schulte. Like, none of these guys is at that level yet that you feel they meet the standard of previous U.S. men's national team generation goalkeepers. And that's always going to cause trepidation.
Yeah, in previous generations, we seemingly always had two number ones, and then everything kind of filled out from there. But Nate brings up a good point. In this era, a fella who was a really, really, really good goalie, but never really could get those premier matches. He got some Gold Cup appearances and some friendlies, but Nick Rimando, forever the third goalkeeper.
Look,
he would be probably the guy right now.
No, there was an era. I mean, look, maybe you overstate. Maybe I have a little bit of nostalgia and romanticism, but there was an era in MLS when you had guys like Matt Reese, when you had guys like, oh my God, I'm gonna forget some people, and I apologize for that. But
Bill Hamid?
even look, well, Bill Hamid was never at that level, I don't think. I mean, did he win a goalkeeper of the year, Bill Hamid? He might have. Yeah. I'm thinking about Matt Reese. I'm thinking about even Stephen Fry, who's on the tail end of his career and looks like he's kind of, getting edged out by Andrew Thomas in Seattle. He would have been better at his prime, not now. And obviously that window never happened. He would have been better than what we've got now. You got the fact that Brad Guzan never got a chance to be the number one at a World Cup because he was always blocked off by Tim Howard. But Brad Guzan is a level above his best when he was at his best, a level above every one of these guys. So, man, it is just frustrating that this is where we're at. And while I think that you would happily trade a leveling up of American talent at every outfield position if it meant that we didn't have world-class goalkeepers anymore, it still sucks to watch our goalkeeper position become this question that it wasn't for a very long time.
Yeah, Riverside Grove saying we have 3 third-string goalies, which you really can't argue against, unfortunately. And I figured that, it was an uneasy position for the last couple of years since the World Cup, but I figured somebody would step up in this last year before the World Cup, and that just really hasn't materialized, unfortunately, to this point. So I really thought that either Matt Turner would come good or Schulte would come through as the guy, but that hasn't come through, and it looks like we're going to see some Matt Freese, and perhaps, maybe we're wringing our hands over nothing, and he steps up and gets into the form of his life, because to a degree that's what happened to Matt Turner. He had that run in qualifying to 22 where he stepped up and became the man, and then pretty much since then maybe some bad moves with his club career has kind of taken away his playing time, to ebbed away at his confidence, and he's kind of like returned to a mean sort of a level. But we shall see if Matt Freese instills some confidence in us over these friendlies, starting with Belgium, and then with that second game over Portugal on Tuesday. But we'll see if Gio Reyna gets over 45 minutes in the 2 games. We'll see where Weston McKennie is placed, and then we'll see if Matt Freese instills some confidence in the men's national team fan base. But let's take a second, and then we'll move across to talk a little bit about the playoffs for the World Cup for the Group D final combatant here in just a sec on Morning Kickaround. Yesterday, Thursday, March 26th, was the first round of World Cup playoffs, and men's national team has one combatant. Our third game is against a TBD opponent, and it went from 4 possible teams to 2 yesterday. I got to say, watching games with real jeopardy and some real stuff on the line was really refreshing, and I got kind of back into that. Having a lot on the line in a game feels like it's been quite some time. Turkey beat Romania 1-0. Slovakia falls to Kosovo. So on Tuesday, we will find that final group member, and it'll be between Turkey and Kosovo. And the word I was looking for, it was great to see games with some high stakes and really see some real tension, as a lot of those games came down to dramatic finishes.
Yeah, not in the pathway that will lead to the U.S. group, but there were penalty kick shootouts. You have to feel pretty bad for the entire island of Ireland, Northern Ireland beaten by Italy in regulation, and then Ireland losing their penalty kick shootout, and then Wales also getting knocked out by Bosnia-Herzegovina as well. So a
Sorry to
tough
Luke.
day. All the Celtic nations, not all of them. I guess Scotland's in the World Cup already because they won their group and they didn't have to go through the World Cup playoffs. Yeah, it was dramatic to say the least in a lot of places. And I guess, we were pretty solid on, it's going to be Turkey that comes through path C, I think, in UEFA qualifying and joins the United States, Australia, and Paraguay at the World Cup. And Riverside Grove says that Turkey or Turkey will not have any problem with Kosovo. I don't know. That Kosovo team, they really showed up. And I don't think you think of Slovakia as world beaters necessarily, but to go away and put 4 on them and do it the way that they did, and it was 4-2 until added time when Slovakia got a consolation goal and made it 4-3. But yeah, I don't know that I'm going to handicap. I'm not going to risk it, is what I'm saying. I certainly think Turkey has more talent on paper, but I'm not going to risk picking that tie that's coming up on Tuesday.
Yeah, out of those 4 teams, Kosovo and Turkey on paper, in my mind, were the strongest. So I'm not surprised they went through. And I think both of these are potential stumbling blocks for USA. Kosovo, I didn't get to see that game yesterday, but whenever I have watched them in the past, they definitely seem like a team that plays beyond themselves, and they got a little bit of that plucky underdog energy and fighting for something larger than themselves kind of energy to that side. And then Turkey, I mean, they have a ton of talent. We saw it. They got Real Madrid players on there, and there's just top level talent across there, and they are definitely more than capable of pouncing on any mistake or creating some magic of their own. So I don't think that any of these guys, when I saw during the World Cup draw and the Fox hosts were literally dancing and celebrating our draw, I saw these FIFA competitors that we potentially could have as no gimmies by any means. And I think that there should be some concern there, but I do think it's fortuitous that this is the 3rd game in the group, and that, with wins in the first 2 games, USA could already be through by the time they get to this Euro competitor.
Yeah, I mean, look, trying to grab the thread here. Kosovo has, by the way, the leading goal scorer in Spain at the moment. So, that says something about where they are. And he plays for Majorca, who's, I think, down in the relegation zone. So that tells you what Murigi can do if he can score that many goals for a team that is that poor in terms of their league standing. When I was at the draw, when I saw this, it was never, hey, these are gimmies. Great. The U.S. is through skating. It's simply, it could have been way worse. It could have been much harder. That no one, I don't think anybody, I don't know what the Fox guys were doing, but I think anybody is like, the United States is going to be great. Like, this is a problem, and not a problem for them. Like they're going to handle their business. They'll be straight through to the round of 32. And then who knows what can happen? No, it's okay. It could have been worse. You know what Paraguay is. You've beaten Paraguay recently. You know what Australia is. You've beaten Australia recently. And as you said, this will be the 3rd game. And we'll find out, where Turkey is. And lots can happen between now and the World Cup. Some of this is roster based. And I want to see the best the U.S. can offer, and I certainly want to see the best that Turkey and everybody else can offer. But you don't exactly know what that's going to look like. So we'll just sit back and watch the drama and see who advances. I should note that game is in Kosovo. That Path C final will be in Kosovo. So perhaps a home field advantage for Kosovo, who, obviously went on the road. Turkey won at home as well, so they'll have to go home in this last round. So they'll have to go on the road away in Kosovo to make the World Cup.
All right, let's take a quick breath and a quick break, and we'll come back and dot the map, maybe answer some questions and talk to the MK Ultras here on Friday's edition of Morning Kickaround. Welcome back. At the end of the show here on a Friday, we are looking to interact with our channel members here directly. Got a couple of dots to add to the map, and I did see earlier in the show that there was a gifted membership in the chat, and if you were the one who gobbled up that gifted membership, why don't you put your location in the chat here, and we'll try to get your dot added to the map straight away. As you get that map ready, I thought it was interesting, kind of took me by surprise, is that there was a dress rehearsal game in Boston, Foxborough, which made that deadline for that whole situation even tighter. France versus Brazil in Foxborough went down. I was really shocked to see a 4:00 game in Boston, but it makes sense if that was a rehearsal. Apparently there were some traffic issues and some surprise elevations of bus fare to get from Boston to Foxborough, which we might dig into a little bit more with Travel Football Fan next week. But should we go to the map here?
Sure. Shout out to John, who says he went to Brazil, France at Foxborough. I know there was a Kylian Mbappe goal, I believe a Hugo Ekitike goal. Who scored for Brazil? I actually didn't see that, Rob. And then a red card as well in that game. I think Upamecano got a red card. So it was full on, a World Cup. A World Cup rehearsal kind of day at Foxborough. All right, I know we've got some names up there in the Northeast. So what are we adding today? What do we got here, Rob?
So going back to last week, I had to dip out early, so I wasn't here on the segment. Did we get Michael from Schererville, Indiana, dotted last week?
You're gonna have to spell Schererville because I just
SCHERERville.
I do not have Michael in Schererville, Indiana, because there's nobody in. So Michael's in Schererville. All right. What else we got for Michael? Any other details that we're adding to the map for our guy Michael, who is doing the right thing and being an ultra?
We actually might speak to Michael next week if we get them booked, but he is one of the founding members of St. Louis's newest club, Forest Park Rangers FC.
All right. There we go. All right. Forest Park Rangers out of St. Louis, Missouri. All right. What else we got?
All right. Our second of three that we currently have in our updates here, we have Christopher from South Jordan, Utah.
All right. South Jordan, Utah. All right. What did you say? Christopher?
Christopher.
Chris. Christopher. All right. Any club affiliations for Christopher?
He is a supporter of RSL, the Royals, and the Monarchs.
Okay. I'm actually going to write out Real Salt Lake. We get all that name in there. You said Utah Royals.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That's the NWSL team. And then we have
Real Monarchs,
which is the USL Next Pro outfit.
And we'll see if we're allowing this. Are we putting any English names on there? Because he's also listing Brighton and Hove Albion across the pond, if allowed.
We do have some people with their foreign affiliation, so we will put Brighton and Hove Albion on the page for Christopher there in South Jordan, suburbs of Salt Lake City.
All right. New dot alert. Andrew in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Oh, Charlotte. I think we got some presence in Charlotte, right?
Yeah.
We do it. Well, down there in Matthews. This is Andrew in Charlotte. Okay, Andrew. Any clubs for Andrew?
He is shouting out Charlotte FC, Carolina Ascent, Charlotte Independence. He's got a couple more.
Okay.
And then he's also, if we're putting abroad, Liverpool and Celtic.
Oh, man. Liverpool and Celtic. Are those both teams that sing You'll Never Walk Alone? Isn't that part of the deal? Is that how they're connected? All right. Anyway.
I'm not sure about Celtic, but there are a number of teams that have adopted.
You're not sure about Celtic? Isn't Celtic the most famous other club that sings You'll Never Walk Alone? You didn't
Uh,
know that, Rob?
I'm processing.
Okay.
But
All right. All right. Go ahead.
all right. So then we got 3 dots there, and going to the chat, we have Kaylon from Kennesaw, Georgia.
All right. Let me go to Kennesaw, Georgia. I know we got some presence in Georgia. So shout out Kate's in Georgia, right?
Kayloon, sorry, I apologize. But just abbreviate to CAE for K, but his Kayloon. And welcome aboard. Okay.
Okay. What am I doing here, Rob? You're confusing me.
You got it. You got it. He
Just like that? All right.
just like that.
All right.
And
And I see clubs. Go ahead.
Yeah, he's got Apothos FC, APOTHEOS FC, Apotheos,
Okay.
or
Apotheos.
Apotheos, if you like that.
Look, and our guy Tom is looking up. Liverpool, Celtic, Dortmund, Feyenoord. That's the quartet of You'll Never Walk Alone clubs. See, I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I knew Dortmund, but not Celtic. So there you go.
Okay, that boggles my mind. It's right there. Scotland's right there, and you're like, I didn't know. Okay.
All right, Chris Knowlton is requesting Stone Lake, Wisconsin for his dot.
Shout out to Chris. What's up, man? We should be catching up with Chris. See how he's doing up there in Wisconsin. Chris is shout out your clubs, Chris.
He's got Iron Rose FC, of course.
Of course, that's what I was about to say. Give me some Iron Rose FC love. Women's team out in California that Chris is a part of, or a part of the ownership group for. Let's see. What else? Daniel says it's a slow news day. No, Daniel, we do this every Friday. It's what we do at the end of the show. It's how we recognize the people that support the program. I see Greg is asking, how do you become a dot on a map? You become an MK Ultra, which means you join the channel. So find the membership button on the YouTube channel. A couple bucks a month gets you access to the Discord, gets your dot on the map, gets you bonus content as well. All right. Eric is saying another Wisconsin dot finally. Shout out to our guy Eric, who's also in Wisconsin. So Chris and Eric, I think Eric's down here. Yeah. This is you, Eric. No, what is that you? Do we have Eric on the map? I see 2 dots in Wisconsin. Is that your dot, Eric? Because I was as Madison Soccer. All right. Anyway, Riverside Grove. Do I have a dot in Riverside, California, Detroit City owner? I think we do. I think
Pretty
we have.
sure.
Yeah. Riverside, California. No, we don't. Look at that. We don't.
That's wild.
That's wild. You've been around for a while too. So Riverside. What's going on with that Riverside pro soccer effort? Riverside Grove. Got to hook us up with that information. I know I've been trying to get one of the founders or whoever that guy is that's backing the bid on the show. All right, Eric is Madison Soccer, so good. You want me to change it to Eric, or do you want Eric? Do you want me to change it to Eric, or do you want me to leave it at Madison Soccer?
But yeah, let's zoom out real quick. Once you're done editing that, I'd like to see kind of the fruition of how many dots we have on here.
How about that?
We started
/ Eric Anderson. That's what we're gonna do. All right. What do you got? Right. What do you got?
I would just want to see that. That's as far as I can see on our updates here, as far as in the Morning Kickaround Discord server, and then here in the chat. But I just kind of wanted to ask if you could zoom out just a touch, just to see what it's looking at right now. The end of March. We've been doing this for a little while now, and we really got some a good amount of dots here. Obviously, we need some Wyoming, South Dakota, or both Dakotas. That northern mountainous range there, the not quite all the way out west. What do you just call it? The western north. We need some people in there. The western north.
Rob. All of this area, Montana,
northern
Wyoming,
plains.
This is called Big Sky Country, Rob. This is called Big Sky Country. Okay.
So Big Sky Country, not big MK Ultra Country. Apparently.
Not big. Well, there's also not a lot of people there. Let's just acknowledge that that's a fact, right? That there aren't a lot of people. The population density is not a feature of Big Sky Country. Whereas obviously you can tell, look, Detroit, lots of people in Detroit, Chicago, the Midwest in a general sense. Shout out to the DC Metro, Philadelphia, New York, Boston, New England in general. Even a couple of upstate New York dots. We got some Carolina dots. We got some Nashville. Look at Florida. Florida's popping off down there. We got a good representation in Florida. We're doing pretty well. We don't have Fort Myers. We don't have Naples. It's a little disappointing, but still got some dots. We finally got a couple of Texas dots. Got 2 of them now. Feeling good about that.
I swore we had somebody
Indiana?
at Naples. I swear we had a Naples dot, but doesn't appear so.
Well, maybe we neglected to dot the map with the Naples dot, but I don't see a Naples dot on the current map situation.
No, and then we got one more request coming in on the Discord. Jason Carlos, he's asking for an edit, so we might be there already, but he's listed as in Fort Wayne.
I have him in Warsaw, Indiana. What edit do we need here?
He wants to add Fort Wayne FC, Chicago Fire, and Pumas to his clubs.
All right. Oh, I forgot the Pumas part. Let's put the Unam Pumas. There you go.
All right. Well, thank you guys for being part of the MK Ultras and supporting Dot the Map and just this whole movement that we are doing here on the show. And Soccer Zombie's asking for Forest Park Rangers to be added to his dot. And we are working on programming for next week. We got some guests already lined up. We're going to hear from Travel Football Fan on the updated last-minute ticket sales window that popped up next week. We're going to talk to him. Then we're going to learn a little about a Midwest Premier League, maybe another new league that's expanding wildly in that summer lower league, the APSL. So we're going to talk to some lower league people. And then we were also going to try to arrange a representative from the aforementioned Forest Park Rangers, a community-owned team that just launched with a number of our MK Ultras at the helm. So a good final week there lined up for the format as it stands now with the 3 live shows per week. TBD, I'm still interviewing and trying to figure it out. Kind of a save Ferris sort of a situation here, trying to get a last minute change to see if I don't have to shake up the entire world here. But as it stands, next week, the final week of the Monday, Wednesday, Friday live shows with our duo here.
I just want to add this since I remembered that you can add images to these dots on the map. And I keep forgetting to ask people if they want to add an image. We know that our guy Tom is Soccer Zombie. I've added his Forest Park Rangers. I got to throw the FC in there. And he's also, of course, got his own YouTube channel. So I can add, look, there's a picture of Tom. If you want either a picture of yourself, maybe a club badge, something like that, on the map as well, you can throw that in the Discord and we'll add those. Maybe we'll do that as part of the show, or maybe we'll just do it behind the scenes to catch this up. But there's other features that we're not taking full advantage of that we need to add to our map. Right.
Yeah, just to kind of in review, we should be getting the MK Ultra kits processed and sent in the mail over the weekend. We should also note that the MK collection is still available on the store. You can get t-shirts, hoodies, sweatshirts, and all that. And then the kit will continue to be available. Just this first run is going to be sent out. So it's going to continue to be on sale. It's just that we'll have to get to a certain number before they ship out.
Well, your first edition, you won't get it.
Yeah, there's going to be an Easter egg on the first one.
It's closed. First edition is closed, but absolutely you can get your hands on a jersey. So make sure you check out the store.
Yep. And then so we'll be back next week. So that until then, everybody have a great weekend and enjoy your soccer.